Hast du keine Angst mit all deinem Kontrovers?
What controversy?
Mit all diesen behaarte, starke Männer auf deinem Kanal?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Der Alan Brawl, Timber Wolf, Alberto Rodriguez, Kevin Meyer.
Look, they might have luscious hair. I might have luscious hair. Are they to be blamed for being born that way? Is that what you're trying to tell me? I'm not going to apologize. I'm not going to apologize for having this hair. I'm just not going to do it.
Okay, start einfach dein Video, du sexy Mann.
Hi, Omar Yusuf here. You may have seen me on the cover of numerous romance novels. Yes, Glittering Steel, Shattering Thunder. That's me. These days, I like to make informative fitness content, which brings me to the video today. Yes, it's a collaboration with Kevin Meyer, aka Pure BullFit, who does have luscious, beautiful hair. So what? Deal with it. In this video, he's going to be talking about how to remain healthy and strong, stronger than ever before, actually at 40 years old. You see, Kevin is 40 and he just hit a 405 bench press. That is a huge accomplishment and it takes years and years of dedication. And if we take a look at the YouTube demographics, for my channel, 25 to 34 is actually the most popular one. Then it's an even split between 35 to 44 and then 18 to 24. So there's a lot of people that want to train for a long period of time. It's not just young YOLO bros. But how do we do this in a sustainable way? Well, let's ask an intelligent 40-year-old who knows what they're doing. I think even if you're not getting older, if you just care about lifting for a long period of time, you're going to learn a lot of information. So make sure to check out Kevin's channel. Link to that is in the description. If you enjoy these collaborations, make sure to like the video and let me know what you want to see next. Without further ado, let's bring it over.
996, 997, 998, 999, 1,000. Oh, hey there. I didn't see you. Omar sent you? Talk to you about being fit over 40. Well, it's actually really simple. There's no, just a second. There, that's better. Now we can all focus on what's really important. The information, not my luscious locks. As Omar so kindly pointed out, yes, I'm old and I'm still making progress. And I like to share with you the things that I've done in order to make sure that I continue to make significant progress well into the second half of my life. But first things first, the controversy. Look, I know it's been said, we both got long, luscious hair. We both have chiseled looks. We've both graced the cover of numerous romance novels. But I want to assure everybody out there, this is not an oligarchy. This is not nepotism. We are in no way related.
You're clones. You're copies of people out here in the world.
What?
Clones?
What?
First things first, I do want to say thank you to Omar for allowing me a few minutes to talk to his rascals, his community. I do want to share the things that I've done and the methodologies and the processes that I have used to ensure that I continue to make progress over this year after recovering from a significant muscle tear in early 2018. But there's a couple of things that I want to get out there right away. Look, guys, there's no damn secrets. This is not going to be revolutionary information. It's common sense shit, and whether or not you're applying it. The other thing I want to say right off the bat is there's actually no pressure. You don't need to go over to my channel. You don't need to watch it. You don't need to subscribe. My material is not for everybody. We provide resources for people to live longer, better quality lives, demystify fitness, and call out the bullshit in the fitness industry. And the style of roasts that I do or informational videos or sharing my thoughts on how we should be approaching weight loss really aren't for everybody, and I accept that. So if you want to pop on over and consume my content, that's awesome, but there really is no expectation. This is just about the opportunity to share with you what has worked for me. Hopefully it can work for you. Now, as some of the faithful rascals know, this is not my first time on the channel. The very first time I was on was a month or two ago, talking about how I've overcome the significant disabilities that I accrued while serving in the United States Marine Corps. So I'm not really going to go into too much about my injuries or the methodologies that I use to overcome or work around them, because I covered that in a previous video and you can find that very easily. But I will say, keep in mind that the things that I have learned is because I was forced to learn to move around, move through, and compensate for significant physical disabilities such as degenerative joint disease, 5 herniated discs, a ruptured disc in my cervical spine, permanent nerve damage, yada, yada, yada. And I think that there are valuable lessons to be learned from that experience, and hopefully hearing it from me will save you from learning it firsthand, because I can promise you it's a frustrating and infuriating situation to be in, to have the will to do something, but your body simply will not cooperate. Look, as I said before, nothing I'm going to tell you is some great mystery or secret. There really are no secrets in fitness. We understand much of how the body works, why it does, what it does. We just need to be willing to go find that knowledge and implement it. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is training with a little bit left in the tank. Reps in reserve or sub-maximal training. Now you'll hear those topics talked about a lot on this channel, and there's currently a very popular debate going on about training intensity and volume, this, that, and the other. I'm going to let those people have that conversation. I'm going to share with you what has worked for me, and that is leaving 1 or 2 reps in reserve even when training heavy. Now I know what folks are going to say. That doesn't mean I'm not training hard, because I am training hard. What I have found is that even when lifting heavy, even when going for a 1 rep max, as you see in my 405 and my 500 pound squat, there's a little left in the tank. It's clear I could have gone for more, but the goals were 405 pound bench and the goal was a 500 pound squat. I hit those, so I stopped there. Why? Because it keeps me injury free. We are mitigating the risk of form breakdown. I have significant muscle tears. I have a torn pec that I tore in 2018. I have a torn teres major. I've got joint damage. Injuries set you back more than anything else. And if you can mitigate that risk, you can never eliminate it, but if you mitigate that risk, you're going to be more consistent. And consistency is what's going to net you more progress in the long run. You have to be willing to take the journey, because your goal doesn't matter. That's going to be hard for some folks to hear, but your goal doesn't matter to you as soon as you reach it. We've all been there. If you want to bench 1 plate, as soon as you do, you want to bench 2. When you hit 2, you want to hit 3. And when I hit 3, I wanted to hit 4. I didn't start training seriously for strength under the bar until I was 34 and a half years old. I've only been at this for 6 or 7 years. So there's a couple of really important things that I've learned from that. One, I've learned it's never too late to start. The significant progress that I've made not being able to do an air squat due to my injuries to squatting 500 pounds in 7 years is not inconsiderable. A 405 pound bench is trash when you take a look at Instagram, when you take a look at the internet. But 10 or 15 years ago, a 405 pound bench was out of reach for 99% of the population. What's the truth? Nothing that I've been able to accomplish is out of reach for anybody. You see, I'm a disabled, medically retired Marine. I have only 5 or 6 years of experience training seriously under the bar. If I can do it, you can do it. And one of the most important ways that I do it is ensuring I've got a little left in the tank, that my form is not breaking down, and that I'm not risking my joints or the pre-existing tears. Another consideration to take into account is that we lose elasticity as we age. It's not to a very great degree, but it does affect the rapidity of which we can go through a range of motion. It means we should probably not be bouncing the weight as much as we do, not relying on our joints, or relying on our bone structure to bear the weight when it should be the muscles that are doing the work. We've got to be careful about those kinds of things, and once you've torn a muscle, it doesn't heal the same way that a bone does. The scar tissue that forms around a torn area in a muscle is not the same muscle composition. It's not the same composition of the muscle originally. It lacks the same elasticity. So unlike a bone which comes back stronger, your muscles are more prone to tearing once you've torn them. This kind of damage accumulates over our lifetime. So that grip it and rip it, that you only lift once kind of mentality isn't good for the long run. And since we approach training from a longevity and a quality of life point of view, still having significant strength goals in mind, sub-maximal training, training with reps in reserve, having a little left in the tank, is a better plan in the long run. And for those of you who are out there that are still convinced that means that you're putting in less work, what I have found is that when I keep a couple of reps in reserve, I am capable of performing more sets at that heavier weight. So if my true max, that max that I could just barely get if my life depended on it, happens to be 425 pounds on the bench press, and I perform a solid repetition at 405 pounds, I can do 3 sets of my 1 rep max, training submaximally, and put in more effective work than going as hard as I possibly could and only getting that 425 for once. Volitional failure, or stopping a set when we know that our very next rep is going to fail, is proven through research to be just as effective, or almost exactly as effective, as training to mechanical failure. And this is what I'm talking about. Let me show you. 1 rep. I got 1 extra rep by going to mechanical failure. Do you really think I made a whole lot of progress in that rep? I probably didn't, but what I did do is invite unnecessary risk, particularly for somebody who has a pec tear. Now, the training methodology that I use isn't just good for people who have existing injuries. It's good for folks who want to avoid ever getting them to begin with. I don't want to take a percent of my performance off every time I hurt myself. We're naturally going to decline as we age, and it really is a game of inertia to build up as much momentum and keep going as long as we possibly can. So why would I throw spikes under my own tires by taking unnecessary risks? That's the way that I view it. Can you still get strong training this way? Yeah, obviously. For 99% of the population, the numbers that I've hit are pretty damn good. The second thing that I want to talk to you guys about is boring as hell, but one of the most effective fundamental things that you can do in order to actually make progress. Prioritize sleep and nutrition through food. I know that sounds boring and you don't want to hear it, but it's the truth. If you're going to spend $120 on supplements every single month, and there are good supplements out there, most of them are junk, but there are good supplements, you're making about a 1%, 2% gain for that investment every single month. If you could prioritize sleep, and I mean truly prioritize it, not I get 6 hours, I get 5 hours every other night, none of that junk. If your work-life schedule allows you to consistently get between 7 and 8 hours of sleep, you're gonna make more progress. And that's a free thing that you could do. Now, there are folks out there that legitimately cannot prioritize their sleep because they have such hard demands in their life and they still want to train. And those folks have to accept that the circumstances of their life are actually limiting the amount of gains that they can possibly make. If you take a look at people who do this for a living, they sleep a lot. If you don't sleep well, you don't recover well. If you don't recover well, you can't perform well. If you don't perform well, you don't make progress. So yes, supplementation can help, but if you're not doing the work to prioritize the 2 most major fundamental aspects of recovery to make progress, rest and nutrition through food, you're not going to make anywhere near as much progress as you want to. The third philosophy that we use is to understand that we're not special, but we are different. You see, your individual morphology, the way that your body is built, is not going to be ideally suited to mimic precisely the things, the how-to videos that you see online. Those videos can be really useful for gaining general ideas of techniques that you can try to employ, but you have to be willing to do the work to find out what works for you. Just because I am tall and I have a long wingspan doesn't mean that a wide bench was best for me. As it turns out, I feel strongest with my ring finger on the first knurling ring. That's not mechanically ideal, and I've watched all the videos. I've watched Omar's videos, I watched the 4-hour video from Greg Nuckols on biomechanics, and I tried to employ all of these things, and it wasn't until I did some experimentation to find out what works best for me that I started to significantly make progress from where I stalled the last couple of years. The last element that I want to talk about today, probably going to be the most unpopular with a certain segment of the community: educate your damn self. Look, guys, I understand that there's a great deal of frustration about analysis paralysis or getting too deep into the science. Why is it always got to be about science? I see those comments here. I see them in my community. I see them in the other communities that I'm a part of. It is not as simple as grip it and rip it. It's just not as simple as you only lift once. Those things can get you a certain amount of progress, but eventually you're just gonna have to learn a damn thing or two. If you're willing to put up so much effort to better your body, why aren't you just as willing to put in the effort to better your mind? Understanding exercise physiology, what's gonna work for you, taking advantage of the metabolic processes, how to incorporate HIIT training, how to incorporate low intensity steady state cardio. These are the things that are gonna help you make the damn difference. If you're not willing to do that, I question whether or not you really want the goals you say you do. As emotionally attractive as it is to picture yourself as a lion or a fucking gorilla just throwing the weight around through sheer force of will, that's not fucking reality. That's not a warrior's mindset, as some of these jackwagons on YouTube are gonna try and teach you. Yes, willpower can help you eke out a little more performance. Yes, commitment is absolutely gonna make the difference. But there is only so much force that your body can produce at a given time. And if you're not willing to dedicate yourself to learning how to do that better, more efficiently, and make consistent progress over time, you're gonna top out, you're gonna cap out way shy of your actual potential. If finding out what your body is truly capable of, if developing yourself, mind, body, spirit is really your goal, you're gonna put in the work to learn a few things. And I was not asked to do this, but I firmly believe it. A couple of great ways to do that is to go ahead and follow the Iron Culture Podcast, to follow Stronger by Science. Put simply, you'll want to grow your biceps, grow your brain. Look guys, I got a late start to the whole strength game, but that taught me two really important lessons. First, it's never too late to get started. You would be amazed what you can accomplish if you're approaching the second half or already into the second half of your life. And the second thing that I learned is that training intelligently isn't just for old guys like me. If I could go back and start training in my 20s the way that I train now, I can't imagine how far along I'd be. Maybe my goals of 405-pound bench press and a 500-pound squat would be 10 years in the rearview mirror already. That would be great, but that's not where we are. So we do the best that we can with the time and the resources that we have. You would be amazed what you can accomplish no matter where you are, no matter what your starting point is now. I was a 35 disabled person when I started training under the bar, and this is what I've been able to accomplish. Now, as far as the internet, 405 and 500 aren't big numbers, but I'm pretty good with them. And I think for 99% of the population, those are some pretty good milestones. The point is not, let's pat Kevin on the back. The point is, if sharing my experience, showing what I've been able to accomplish despite my significant physical challenges, despite my late start, can motivate or inspire anybody to give up on their perceived limitations and try and train intelligently, try and chase their goal with all their heart, mind, and soul, man, then I've made the difference that I've been trying to make ever since I started my own channel. Personally, I really enjoy the kind of content that you find here on Omar's channel, and I am honored to now be a part of it. I view him as a Ferris philosopher, a philosopher of the iron. And I think that what he does and brings to the table is a much needed niche inside oftentimes toxic and predatory fitness community, where people are really honestly just out to take your money, take advantage of your naivete and your ignorance. Providing people with the resources to live longer, better quality lives is extremely important, and understanding it's about enjoying the journey, because as soon as you hit that goal, you're gonna have another one. That goal is not gonna satisfy you for very long, so enjoying the journey is what the important part is. Like I said a couple of times in this video, guys, I'm not special. You can achieve anything that I've managed to achieve. And I'm really grateful that you guys have stuck around and listened to me ramble for a little while. Hopefully you all got something from it. Omar, thank you for giving me a few minutes of your community's time to speak to them today. I appreciate it greatly. So if you guys want to look me up on my channel, Pure BullFit, that's cool. If you don't, that's cool too. But there is one more important lesson I want to share with you before we close out for the day. Eat your vegetables. Eat your vegetables. Eat your fucking vegetables.
Eat your vegetables, eat your vegetables, eat your fucking vegetables.